All right, welcome to 310 to Left, brought to you by your New England Ford dealers and F-Series, America's best-selling trucks for 48 years, the official truck of the Boston Red Sox. Thanks for joining us today. I'm here with Rob Bradford, who you can catch on Nesson, obviously, WEEI, and the wildly popular Baseball Isn't Boring. Now, Rob, I got a quick question for you. I know your audiobook is still pending. Are you looking for a narrator still? Because I know Patrick Stewart, Morgan Freeman, and John O'Hurley were kind of wanting to get in on this, but if they bail or can't do it because of some circumstance, I'm willing to jump on that boat.
What you mean? This book?
That book right there with Joe
Oh
Keller.
yeah. Oh,
Yes.
you mean Tom Hanks's favorite book? Yeah. No, listen, Lenny, all I know is this. You can do anything that you want. See, it's not only because you wear the t-shirts. Your triceps have never looked better, by the way. It's your traps. Oh my goodness! But I'm telling you, you can do anything you want. You are a man of so many talents, including talking the great game of baseball, which I always love. I look up in the stands before the game, and I just see you observing the great game of baseball before every game, soaking it all in. I appreciate that, and I appreciate you.
Well, I tell you, anytime you see me out in the stands staring off in the distance, I assure you there's just a little mouse on a wheel just kind of spinning out there. There are some that would disagree. But I tell you what, let's get into some baseball talk. That's what we're here for today. So, Boston Red Sox just went into Baltimore, took 4 games from the Orioles after the Orioles came to Fenway Park and took 2 from them. A little bit of a payback right there. Let's talk about that series. What'd you see in this series that you didn't see the last time they saw them at Fenway Park?
Well, I think pitching. I think everybody talks about how they've been able to go on these runs. Whether it was a 10-game winning streak, this 7-game winning streak, this winning streak. And Lenny, I know it's scratching right where you itch, but it's pitching, man. You go look at this road trip about what carried them. And yeah, they had some decent games offensively, not enough, but certainly the pitching is the thing. Starting pitching, relief pitching. I think relief pitching. Here's a little wonky stat for you. I think they only allowed one inherited runner to score the entire road trip. Well, little things like that go a long, long way. And I just think that what they have done, Lenny, is establish that they have the legitimate top of the rotation guys. Even the Giolito hiccup in New York. It was at once Alex Bregman ran across the clubhouse and said, "Hey, you're tipping your changeup." That was in the rear view. So I think that is the biggest takeaway for me. I don't know about you.
Yeah. I mean, you look at this 4-game series in Baltimore, 3 of those games were won by 1 run. And the narrative throughout this whole season, especially the first half, was how many times can you lose 1-run ball games? And how many times are you going to leave runners on base and strike out when it counts or give it up at some point when the lights are brightest? And the starting rotation, like you said, has been good. It's been really good. But the bullpen, too, we got to talk about this bullpen. They've been outstanding. Matz went out there and got his second save in his career, an 11-year career. He went out there because Chapman was down, and that's another difference I've noticed. When Chapman and Whitlock, when those two guys are down previously, early parts of the season, the bullpen's not as stable. I'm not as confident, but when you've got guys like Steven Matz, an acquisition we just got recently at the deadline, this is another guy that can go out there and contribute.
Yeah, it's a good point by you. And then you get Slayton coming back, obviously, which is going to help. But I think with Matt, it's the trade deadline's always going to be a thing, always going to be a conversation. It was last year when they got the guys and it didn't work out. And this year, when people like me are giving them a C minus, we now we're a month out. Say, okay, well, what is a real grade? What teams actually did well? And I think obviously you have to recalibrate what the Red Sox did because of Steven Matz. I mean, Lenny, I don't know about for you, but when they get Steven Matz, I said, oh, okay, that's a luxury item. You have Chris Murphy, you have these lefties, you have Bernardino. It's a luxury item. But I'll say this, he's been better than I thought he would be. And why he isn't a luxury item was because they didn't have someone really who could do what he did against the Orioles, which is close out a game. He's been that good. And not only been that good, but have that much confidence from Alex Cora, which, Lenny, they were trying to find that guy, right? Jordan Hicks, he got a shot out of the gate, didn't work out. They've been trying to find that guy, and finding Matz has been a huge, huge thing.
Can I give you my opinion on why he's been successful? Because
Yes.
last trade deadline, who did we get? We got Lucas Sims, another lefty out of the pen, right?
Yeah. And Luis
Couldn't throw
Garcia.
strikes.
Yeah.
Yes, could not throw strikes. And now we've got a lefty in Matz who pounds the strike zone. He's consistently in the zone. He gets strike one. He attacks hitters consistently. That's what you need out of a bullpen. At the end of the day, if you need anything, I'll take location, command, and intent inside the strike zone over 100 miles an hour every day of the week. And that's what he's bringing to the table. But Rob, real quick, staying on starting pitching, Garrett Crochet. Talk about Garrett, what he brings to the table, and also, is there such a thing? And I've got my opinion on this. Is there such a thing as competition within the rotation? One guy goes out there, does a good job. Do the other guys want to follow suit? Do they see what he's doing and want to go out there and compete with him day in and day out?
Yeah, that's why you didn't speak to Bronson Arroyo for months, right? You were competing in the starting rotation. um, but
It's like Lennon
I
McCartney.
think
I was writing my tune. He was writing
yeah,
his tune, and we
exactly.
ended up
It's
putting them
like,
together at
oh,
the end.
okay, you might have been better, but my song is better than yours. Yeah, I think that listen, you look at Crochet, and this is the part of the equation that's non-negotiable. You have to have Garrett Crochet, right? You have to have him. This is the guy. He is the difference maker. He is a separator. He is the guy that you say, this is a reason you're going to go on a run. But after him, then you have Giolito and Bayo. And I think you're right that when you have Bayo pitching as well as he has, Giolito pitching as well as he has, neither one of those guys wants to be relegated to the number 3 spot. They want to be considered for the number 2 spot. Absolutely. And also, I think, especially Giolito, who has been through this before, he understands the deal. He understands that this part of the equation is such a huge, huge deal when it comes to being successful in the postseason. Everybody knows you need pretty much 3 reliable starters in the postseason, and then you go from there. And that's exactly what they've been.
Yeah, I remember, back in the 90s, Maddox, Glavine, Smoltz, these guys, with Steve Avery as well, was another one of those guys in the rotation. They absolutely competed. These guys were competitive guys on the golf course, that the same way in the clubhouse. They wanted to go be the number 1 guy. And that's the only way you got to look at it when you take the ball every 5 days. I'm the man. And if it goes from there. But Garrett Crochet, you couldn't ask for a better ace, a guy that basically sets the tone and really shows this team where they need to go. Another guy like that on the squad, defensively, offensively, as of June 1st, Trevor Story. Talk about the
Ooh.
impact, the importance, and what he's done to this team so far.
Well, I can pinpoint the time where it turned for him. He was walking off the Yankee Stadium field, and I said, here's your baseballs and boring sticker, Trevor. And then the magic seeped in. I mean, I'm not lying. We joke about it. It was like that moment on, because honestly, I felt a little bad for him. He had been so bad. Like he had struggled so much in May. And you know him, Lenny. I mean, he is like the nicest guy, the most well-meaning guy, the most hardworking guy. You want him to do well, and really, what he was happening in May was really disconcerting. So the fact that he turned around was really important, because everything. A lot of this season is based on the Devers trade dynamic, Lenny. I think, and you say, okay, well, how did this affect that? How did that affect that? Why is this working so well with this new sort of confluence of players? And I think a big part of this was because I'm not saying Trevor Story did well because Devers left, but the Red Sox have done well because Trevor Story has done well since Devers left. Like, that was a huge, huge part of that equation. And also another thing, Lenny, remember, early in the year, people were saying his arm isn't as good. His defense isn't as good. And I think that, and you correct me if I'm wrong, but I got to imagine that was shaking off the rust. Even though he played in September, that was shaking off the rust. That was getting into the baseball season, because a big part of this has been his defense over the last couple months. It's been so, so good.
You are 100% correct. And you have to understand that the best ability is availability. I know we've heard that before. That's a Jonathan Papelbon quote. He says, there's a lot of other quotes that I can't say here on this, in this state, this podcast or whatever, but it's true. It's true. When you're available, when you're healthy, there is rust there coming back into the big leagues as far as defense, as far as timing, knowing when and when not to swing your decisions. And I talked to him after a radio game about a month ago, and I asked him, was there a change in approach at the plate? And he said, yeah, we're trying to go gap to gap now. We're trying to not necessarily get under the ball quite as much in certain situations. Prior to, June, a lot of these guys were just doing nothing but getting under the ball, trying to hit home runs. 0-2 count, 2-0 count did not matter.
Lenny, let me throw this in at you. You tell me if I'm full of hooey or not, okay? All right. By the way, I'm bringing it back. I'm bringing it back to old school.
Hooey.
But I think that, we talk about those one-run losses, and we were all trying to figure out the one-run losses. Why is this happening? And there was a lot of different reasons. But I do think that the ability to put the ball in play more has led to better things. And the team that does that, here's the scientific proof for that. The team that does that the best is the Toronto Blue Jays. They have the best batting average, best OPS in baseball in close and late situations because they put the ball in play better than anybody else. Now, the Red Sox still strike out, but to your point, the approach has absolutely changed. And I think that has led them to have big hits, bigger hits, more meaningful hits, less one-run losses. I think I'm going to ride with that because it used to saying that. I think that sort of lines up with what you're saying.
Yeah, and another prime example, Roman Anthony. He's a guy that he's got a great eye. He's not going to swing outside the strike zone. Because of that, he's going to have some strikeouts looking, and that's okay because he's getting on base so often via the walk and putting the ball in play. There's a lot of people a few weeks ago saying, "Oh, you know what? I want to see the ball in the air more. I want to see more power. Where's that 497 home run swing that we were looking for? You got to tinker with the swing a little bit." And I was pulling my hair out because I knew that, okay, he's taking walks. He's not swinging out the strike zone. Big league pitchers do not want to walk the any of these guys, let alone the one hole, Roman Anthony, right? So what are they going to do? They're going to come back in the strike zone eventually. They're going to give him a decent pitch to hit. And now what are we seeing? We're seeing him hit
And
the
by the
ball
way,
hard as he usually does, but out.
Yeah, and by the way, Lenny, if you can appreciate this, I think the umpires have understood Roman Anthony too. This is a big part of this, is that you see him just spitting on pitches an inch on the outside corner saying, no, I'm not going to swing at that. And, sometimes maybe an umpire hey, listen, rookie, don't you take that? That's a strike. But he's getting close calls. And, I think he's getting close calls because he has already developed a reputation to being that guy who has an unbelievable eye for the strike zone. And I'm with you, man. I'm with you. I think that part of it too. That's another huge jumping off point with this. And here's the last thing I'll say about putting the ball in play, Lenny. You have to do it in the postseason. You have to do it in the postseason. Everybody understands that, and everybody forgets that. But the good teams, the teams that win, they put the ball in play.
Exactly. I swear the other day he took a ball. The catcher looked back at the umpire, and the umpire looked at him and said, Mr. Anthony thought that was a ball. Actually, no, that was Ted Williams. Sorry. That was Ted Williams. Sorry. But hey, we got to go to break right now. We're going to talk about Paul Skenes coming to Fenway Park on 310 to Left, brought to you by your New England Ford dealers. We'll see you in a few.
310 to Left is presented by your New England Ford dealers who've been taking everyone out to the ball game at Fenway Park for decades. Catch Ford next time you're at Fenway, including in the Ford Clubhouse, a full-service bar perfect for bringing your lineup together and for recording our live edition of 310 to Left. It's all brought to you by your New England Ford dealers and F-Series, America's best-selling trucks for 48 years and the official truck of the Boston Red Sox.
All right, welcome back to 310 to Left. We're here with Rob Bradford. Thanks, Rob, for joining us. We also have a special guest, Michael McKenry, the Fort. Played in the big leagues with Colorado, Pittsburgh, and St. Louis. Was actually in the Red Sox organization for a spell back in 2011. He's my contemporary for the Pittsburgh Pirates, so he's going to be working tonight, I'm assuming.
I am.
Thanks for
I actually just
joining
got
us.
back. Hey, appreciate you having
Awesome.
me. And man, it's been fun listening to you guys off air. You guys are great. And I love the fact that you're talking about putting the ball in play. It's so important. Cause a little chaos, and you never know unless you put the ball in play.
Absolutely. I
Michael,
appreciate that very much.
By the way, Michael, Lenny said you were part of the Red Sox organization. I am going to say this was the curse of Michael McKenry, who once you left, they fell apart in 2011, the organization.
Ooh.
So correct. I mean, I know it was
they
June.
did fall apart.
I
don't think it had anything to do with me, but they did fall apart that year. Yeah.
I'm just gonna say I know what the trade you were traded in June to Pittsburgh, but still, I'm just saying that to have your presence around in September would have made a big difference. But yes, but you speaking of, I was looking at that roster. So you played a lot with Pawtucket, right? Correct, back then.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And I was thinking along this because we have these guys. We have Payton Tolle coming up to pitch now. Obviously, you had Skenes there, and you've all Bubba Chandler, another guy who's just called up. As a catcher, you must have a really great perspective of what boxes you have to check off in order to feel good about a young pitcher coming up. Because, like I said, Bubba Chandler's been great for a couple of times. We know what Skenes has done, and now the Red Sox are hoping the same for Tolle.
Yeah, the one thing that I think guys need to remember is it's still the same game. They don't need to come up and try to do something they've never done. A lot of times they get overloaded with information. And I mean, even in Colorado, they brought up the top prospect there. Mac, you're going to be catching him today. Take care of him. And they were just coddling him, moving him around. They had one of the pitching coordinators kind of taking him. I'm sure he even went to the bathroom with him. It was wild. And I just said, hey, man, just go out and play the game that you played since you're a little kid. I said, you're not as good as you think you are, and you're not as bad if it doesn't go well as you maybe have pitched. So just go out, trust your stuff, trust what you see, and allow that ability just to shine. And I think that's the biggest thing when you see all these guys. Like you just brought up Paul Skenes for us, and your top prospect that's going to pitch tonight. I think you said Payton. These guys are elite for a reason. And now we have the ability to look at how elite they are when it comes to their pitch quality, pitch movement, the deviations between their pitches. And you can kind of see, are these guys able to stack up in the big leagues? Well, the stuff, yes. And nobody talks about the mentality enough. And that's what separates Paul Skenes. We have a kid like Ashcraft who came up, who's been dominating. Bubba Chandler he brought up as well. These guys are dominating because of a guy like Paul Skenes and the mindset they're instilling in themselves to come out and not just win, but to dominate the day. And that's the coolest part. And it's not the day they start that's the biggest deal. It's all the days prior to and the work and the prep. And these guys have taken on a whole new level of that because of a guy like Paul Skenes. So thinking about a guy being able to change an organization, I mean, I may have made the water ripple a little bit. Paul Skenes is bringing an absolute tsunami through the organization top to bottom. But when they get those guys around him, man, he's changing things.
It's funny. We were talking about that same thing with Garrett Crochet here at the Red Sox. He just lays down this template that everybody needs to follow, right? Whatever it's in the clubhouse, the work ethic, what he does day in and day out. And I love the point you brought up. And it kind of goes to what someone told me young in my career. Two things, really. If I tell you don't think of pink elephants, what's the first thing that pops into your head? Pink elephants,
pink
right?
elephant.
So,
It's big, too.
Yeah, so and if you think you're awesome, or if you think you're terrible, you're probably right. It's like, well, I think with all the confidence in the world, what's the worst that'll happen? Right? If you're Payton Tolle tonight, you're facing one of the best in the league. Yeah. It's happened before in this game a few times. Right? But
I tell people all the time, my first start, I struck out 4 times. Yeah, it happens. It happens.
Oh,
it's
really?
Happen again too.
Oh,
I did.
Oh my goodness.
Jeff Supon's last day, and I'll never forget the umpire looks at me and said, "Hey, Rook, it's his day. You better be swinging." First ball's about this far off the plate, and I'm like, oh no, that's a strike today. So 9 pitches in, it's like literally I can't even hold my hands in the screen. It's off the plate, and I'm like, I can't swing at it. And strike. That's the first one, and then I swung at everything he threw after that. Yeah. So good first day, good gift for me that day. Yeah. And I respect it now. Then I was pretty mad, but I look back and say, man, Jeff Suppan had the day of his life, his last game. Pitched a long time, didn't have elite stuff, and we probably would have walloped him in his last game if he had to come in the zone. Right, wrong, or indifferent, that's the game the way the game used to be, and I respect that.
Yeah, earlier we were talking about the importance of contact, right? Putting the ball in play rather than just 0-2 count, 2-0 count, driving the ball out of the ballpark. Paul Skenes on the mound. How difficult is it going to be for the Red Sox? How difficult has it been for other teams facing a guy like Skenes throughout this season?
Yeah, it's incredibly difficult. I mean, you put a lot of elements together that don't exist, right? So he has a unique angle. There's only one other guy in all of baseball that has that angle, but he cannot throw it 98 miles an hour. So you're talking about, I believe it's like 28 degrees that he's letting that ball go. So it's unique. It's behind a right-hander. I actually got on Traject, which is a machine I'm sure you guys know, but I'll tell the fans, that puts up an image and the ball comes out almost perfectly in rhythm and time at release. So I faced Paul Skenes. The first breaking ball I threw, it looked like it was coming from the third baseman home. I mean, it's kind of remarkable how far he releases that ball. So you have that element. And then you have that this guy looks like an ogre on the mound. He's a big human. He hides the ball, creates great deception, uses the body incredibly well, repeats his delivery, has elite command. And then, he has 7 pitches. And 4 of them are top tier in the major league. So you're talking about a guy that's just silly to face, and he throws 100. I should mention that too. So you have all those elements, and the hardest part for your guys today, and I'll tell you exactly if we want to talk about how you would approach him. I have one element until he changes, but he's so adaptable. I have a lot of friends that are in the military. This guy obviously went to the Air Force. They lay out a tactical plan. They never believe it's going to go well. So they have all these ways to deviate or change lanes, and this guy will do that in a heartbeat. Last time I watched him pitch, he looked up at the scoreboard. Oh, he's digging himself, looking at the velo. And no, I had someone ask, I'm like, were you looking at the velo? And he goes, no, I was looking at the deviation of my pitches. Because at PNC Park, you have negative horizontal movement and vertical movement. And he looked at it, and he changed the way he used his fastball that day, guys. That is unreal for anyone on the planet, let alone a 23-year-old. So he changed it. So he had more vertical angle, induced vertical angle, which means he has more ride in the fastball because he's underneath it. He got the most swing and misses on his fastball he's ever gotten, most strikeouts on his fastball he's ever gotten. And I just walked away and said, nobody has any shot against this if he keeps doing this. He's just going to get better.
You know, Michael,
opponents are hitting 100 against his changeup.
That's my favorite pitch. Yeah. The changeup's real. Now the split's taking a huge kind of left-hand turn this year for me. And the reason is early in the season, he did almost a build-up, which this is also a remarkable story I'm sure you guys will like. He had the wherewithal to understand he needed to build up. So he built himself up through, which is crazy, March and April. And as that happened, his arm was lower than it's ever been. And I remember me and Stephen Brault, my co-partner, my battery mate, on the pre- and post-game show, we were like, man, why is he doing this? It's making his ball a little bit flatter. He's getting hit harder. The splinker's not the same. And because of that, he kind of lost the feel of how to get on top of that. But the changeup has changed that completely because he uses that to go north and south. And every now and then he'll use that splinker if it's there and he's able to get on top of it. It's crazy.
You know what, Michael, we in spring training, obviously the Red Sox are on the same coast as the Pirates. And so we go up and down, and he's sort of like, okay, what player do you want to see? In this world, we kept talking about, it used to be when we were growing up, I got the Pedro ticket. I got this ticket. I got that ticket. And there's not like a ton of those guys, if any. But Skenes is that guy. I was driving down from I don't know, Dunedin. And I'm like, Paul Skenes is pitching. I'm going to go way out of my way to see this guy pitch 2 innings. But it is that guy. He is that guy, I think, maybe more than anybody, with the exception of Shohei Ohtani in baseball. My question is this: can you feel that? I mean, tonight, because you have Payton Tolle coming up, you have Skenes. This is going to be the biggest ticket of the season. But when Skenes pitches, can you feel that from the electricity of a crowd?
Absolutely. Even on the road. He's gotten standing ovations coming off the field on the road. This guy is special. He's a generational talent. And, for all your fans, it's not trying to play him up, hype him up. Like, I'm waiting for that hiccup. I'm waiting for this guy to be 23 years old. He's not. He's just not. I mean, his worst game he's ever had was recently, and it wasn't a bad game. He gave up 4 runs. He's only given up 7 hits one time in his entire career in a start. One time. You know, it's crazy to watch this guy pitch, what he can do, how he can maneuver, and how he understands the game. And, oh, yeah, he's great with the running game. So I know you guys can run. You have some burners up there. So he's great at the running game. He's great at filling the ball at his position. He does it all. And I think part of it's because of the military background. But this guy is elite. And to take it one step further, we just had our Hall of Fame induction. He's catching a ball from a Hall of Famer in the Pirates organization, and he takes off his hat and shakes the man's hand. So not only does he do it all right on the field, this guy has elite respect for the game and what it is, and you can't say much bad about this guy. It's wild to watch him, and I think you guys will really enjoy it, and it's going to be cool to have your all's top prospect come up and kind of have that feeling, because you guys are in a playoff chase. We're trying to ruin everybody's breakfast. So it's going to be fun, and Paul Skenes loves being the enemy. So you guys get louder, he's probably going to get better.
Michael, Payton Tolle, this is, if nothing else, just the image of the game tonight, where you have, how tall is Skenes? 6'6", 6'7", 6, what is he?
Yeah, 6'6". Yeah, he's got an aura, so I think it's 6'6", maybe bigger.
So Payton Tolle, 6'6", both elite mustaches. You know, both,
oh yeah,
oh my
God, that beauty. You know, I'm going to say Tolle's got him. That is a good upper lipper, my friends. Wow.
Well, nice. And we may talk about this later, but Tolle said that his inspiration was Tom Selleck, which you talk about respecting the game. You talk about respecting your peers. The fact that his inspiration was Magnum PI, like that's as good as like taking the hand of a Hall of Famer in the first pitch in my book. So there you go.
Well, tell him he's got a fan in me after tonight. I'm a Tolle fan now. Tom Selleck, you legend. That's awesome.
He said
most kids his age don't know who that is. Yeah, he could.
He dressed
Mr. Baseball.
Magnum PI in high school.
That's right.
Without the mustache. Everyone thought he was just a poorly dressed tourist because he had the khaki shorts hiked up in the Hawaiian shirt and the Detroit Tigers hat. He's a student of the game in so many ways. So anyway.
I love it. Oh, it's going to be a great matchup. I'm looking forward to it.
All right, guys, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back and talk more Payton Tolle on Three to the Left, brought to you by your New England Ford dealers. We'll see you in a couple minutes. All right, welcome back to 310 to Left. I'm here with Rob Bradford, Michael McKenry. Thanks for joining us, guys. Let's get right back into this upcoming series starting tonight. Paul Skenes on the mound. Tomorrow, Johan Oviedo. He's had an up and down season. Talk a little bit about him and what he needs to bring to the table to get back on track.
You talk about a big human on the mound. I mean, this guy, he looks big on the mound. It's hard to do in the Major League Baseball, but he does. I'll never forget one of the first times I met him, I jumped up on one of those fake mounds that they build that they throw plyo balls off of and whatnot. And I'm standing there, it's 10 inches, and he's still taller than me. It says 6'6". I think he's like 6'12". So that's one. He's a super intense competitor. He's coming back off of Tommy John. Then he had a lat issue. Because of the lat issue, it pushed him all the way back to where he made his debut. And that debut, you could tell those emotions and that intense competitiveness came out in him, got the bases loaded, and ended up striking out the side, but he threw 45 pitches. I don't know if I've seen that in a long time, 45 pitches in the first inning, but he did. Guys threw it. We ended up, believe, winning that game, but he's been good ever since. They do have a short leash on him just because of the Tommy John. He only threw 4 innings and 56 pitches last time, but he still looked good against his former team. So I'm excited to see kind of how he stacks up each and every time. But you do have a guy that's going to be kind of short-leashed, but that's kind of how we're built. Outside of Paul Skenes, Mitch Keller, all these guys are more 4-inning guys, a lot of electric stuff. Oviedo's electric pitch is his slider. It is silly. He's got right on the fastball that'll come up and in at your face. As a righty, he lets that natural miss happen, which is cool. But, yeah, he's going to be a tough component. I mean, not as tough as Paul Skenes by any stretch because it's more of a 2-pitch mix, but he's working on a changeup and has feel for a breaking ball that he will show.
Sounds kind of similar to a guy like Dustin May, right? A guy coming back from injury, struggling with consistency, a guy that, but this is a guy that Big upside. Big upside when he locates well. He's effective. Rob, what have you seen from Dustin so far this season?
Yeah, I mean, just inconsistency. I think that it's also interesting when you get a guy in a new organization, especially this day and age more than ever, where they get a guy and they say, we think you can do this. We think you can tweak this. Even, it's funny because the Dodgers are the ultimate with this, right, guys? I mean, the Dodgers are, you have the Ryan Brazier story of he's DFA'd. They send him to Arizona for 10 days to learn a cutter, which he had never thrown. The next thing you know, he has like a 1 ERA. So the Dodgers are known for this. So the Red Sox tried to take May and said, well, we think you can do this. We can think we can do that. And I think that a lot of times that's a work in progress. Sometimes it hits, sometimes it doesn't. But, Michael, I just want also, in terms of the Pirates, you mentioned these arms. Keller, obviously, pretty solid. But mentioned Chandler. You mentioned, or Mike Burrows was, before his injury, was a really top prospect for them, who's been pretty good. Is this basically the blueprint, for a small market team, a team that's not going to spend a lot of money, but they say, we have the arms, and then we'll go from there?
Yeah, I think it has to be. I mean, you guys know once you get to playoffs, nothing else really matters but pitching and defense. And can you timely hit, right? You hope one guy gets hot and kind of carries you through like a Jeter would at times. And I know I should have probably said Jeter, but let's say Big Papi. We'll go that direction since we're on the Red Sox podcast. I was just rounding up shortstops all week, and all they did was talk about Jeter. I'm like, he was good, but there was other guys. And I love your old shortstop, by the way. Trevor Story was one of my favorite Rockies when he was there. I'm happy he's healthy and doing what he can. But, yeah, I think so. I think the biggest thing is creating an identity moving forward. Who do you want to be? Who are the Pittsburgh Pirates? Early in the season, we're running like crazy. We're bunting a little bit, hitting and running. We're doing some things. And then we took a lull. And I know there's a lot of emotion with Derek Shelton leaving. It seems like they're taking on a little bit of an identity now. We're seeing IKF at the bottom of the order, be a guy that'll hit the ball behind the runner, bunt, and do some things that, the game's kind of pushed out. But when you need to move and push 90 feet to 90 feet, you're not a team that is going to go shopping in the gap and hit that ball off the fence or over the fence. You have to do things that are unique. And I think being aggressive, putting pressure on the defense, putting the ball in play like you guys were alluding to before I came on, is everything they have to do offensively, and just trust that this staff is going to go out and do their thing. They have the ability to get weak contact. They have the ability to get deep into ball games, and they have swing and miss stuff. So you have the entire trifecta together, and then we have a good bullpen, and defense is just getting better and better. So it's like, yeah, I think our identity is kind of that small ball, catch and throw, make the plays, but we'll also make some elite plays. So it's going to be really interesting to see how it kind of goes the rest of the season. If it continues this way, I've seen some guys start to really put some things together over the last couple of weeks. And I think if we can do that, it is a good formula for us as a small market team to move forward with this mentality of a kind of an ebb and flow as a team and not as individuals.
And by the way,
both these
top
teams,
prospect in baseball.
Go ahead, Rob.
As a position player, top prospect in baseball, and Connor Griffin too.
He's silly.
And Lenny, we talk about spring training. Red Sox played the Pirates in spring training. Two things I remember about that game. Number one, the mascot sat down in the stand for about 3 innings, and I called him out on the radio.
What's he doing? Having a beer?
And I called him out on the radio, and it got back to him. We started going back and forth with each other. I've never seen a mascot sit down, but listen, it was hot out, whatever.
It's
but the other
training.
thing was,
he needed.
I know. I guess it's spring training for everybody. He was not in the best shape of his life, as so many of these guys are. Yeah. But Connor Griffin, I was like, that kid out there playing against major leaguers was 18 years old. 18 years old, and the next thing you know, he's the top prospect in baseball as a position player. So, yeah, he's a good one. And he also told me at the Fusions game that he followed around Skenes because he was in Major League camp, I think, too. Mm-hmm. So he followed around Skenes to speak to what you were talking about earlier.
He's special. He's the best I've seen. Just real quick, this guy made a quick adjustment right after big league camp, got his hands in a better spot. He's our Roman Anthony. We talked about, I think that's a great formula for us to kind of think about, like, hey, hopefully we can get this guy signed up, locked up really quick. But because of Roman Anthony, it kind of could push him up to the big leagues as soon as next year, because like this guy's got elite skills. Even when he's not swinging good, you're talking about a guy that's going to steal 80 bases, if not more, in the minor leagues at multiple levels, and he's hit everywhere he's gone. But here's the kicker, guys. I coached him with USA Baseball. I thought this guy's going to be a center fielder. He looks incredible out there, runs like a gazelle. He's an elite shortstop. He's only made 7 errors as a shortstop as a 19-year-old. He just turned 19 a couple months ago. I mean, that's remarkable when you think about it. You usually see 35 throwing errors by as an 18, 19-year-old at shortstop. This guy's doing it at every level, not making errors and getting the balls most guys can't, because he's a 6'4" runner when it comes to 60 time, and he's probably in that weird percentile when it comes to actual speed. It's crazy watching this guy play.
You know, when you talk about Griffin, Skenes, and the guys you're building around, the young talent, the veteran talent, how far off do you feel like the Pirates are? What do they need to do to make that push to get to the next level, to possibly get to the playoffs again one day?
I think it's buy all in and trust the the ability they have. One thing we do, in my opinion, that's tough for players, like a Jack Sawinski is a great example. 2 years ago, this guy hit 26 homers. And he had a 787 OPS, which we don't even have on the team now. And then he tries to bring down the swing and miss. He tries to hit the ball the other way. And for the last 2 years, this man has struggled. But he's also not played consistently every day. So it's making the choices on the guys you believe in and trust, and having a runway for them to kind of take off. And if that doesn't work out, have the plan of what's next. Because it's not going to be something that maybe looks great. Like if you bring up Connor Griffin, just like you guys with Anthony, he didn't come up and just dominate. He struggled. Now, knowing the kid, knowing the personality, knowing the human being is the most important part of this game, in my opinion. You throw every analytic out the door and burn it. Because if you don't know that kid, how he's going to respond to that failure, because it's going to happen, you don't know anything. So you let him play, you let him figure it out. And if they do that, because of Paul Skenes, to your all's point, he is creating a different level of concentration, of conviction, of confidence, and not just those pitchers, but the position players. So that's what I think. Yeah, I could talk about they should go get this guy. They should go get that guy. They should go get guys that are going to complement what is there and that can love on the guys that are going to be the future, because we do have some talent and we have some things we've never had before. We need to run as fast as we can towards it. So I think next year is all in or all out type year for the Pirates, because I think that's how good they are, and we only have a certain window of time when it comes to being able to hold on to some of these guys.
Well, I tell you, the way, you know, when I'm facing a guy like Skenes, and this is a little bit pessimistic, but I'm thinking get to the bullpen as soon as possible. I mean, just do something to get his pitch count up, put together tough at bats. Talk about the Pirates bullpen. We talked earlier about the Red Sox bullpen, how they're holding it down. They're doing a great job. Chapman's having a career year at 37 years
Wow.
old, been pounding the strike zone. Talk about the Pirates bullpen. What do the Red Sox, hopefully, for our sakes, have in front of them tonight?
Yeah. How
Yeah,
is
so
this Chapman different than the one that you guys had?
conviction and consistency, and not just with being in the zone, but the conviction in the two-seamer, the conviction in the split and the slider, and then the consistency of where he fit. Like he would close games, he would set up, he would come in the seventh, all those things. And I think as you get older, you've been a guy for a long time, being consistently put in the same spot, because this guy is a humanoid, right? Like he's in the weight room almost every second of every day, and then he goes out and throws just absolute fuzz missiles at the hitter. It's just not fair, and it's remarkable. And I can't believe nobody's studying him. Like when he's done, this guy, knock on wood, hasn't had issues with the thing that is in your arm that I'm not going to say, and he throws 180. So we need to maybe do a little bit of digging into that, and maybe some blood work or something, because it's wild, because this guy's mechanics are clean and it whips through. But our bullpen, it's unique. It's different than it's been in the past. We have a bunch of Swiss Army knives. You know, Majinski was a starter earlier in the year. He just threw the other day. He threw 4 innings, and he's a guy that developed to change up elite stuff. And then we have some guys that have really fought to get to the big leagues, like Matson. He's 30 years old. He has a unique fastball. It rides through the zone. Guys can't see it, can't hit it, and he's not scared to throw it 10 times in a row like he did to Yelich. Ended up winning a game for his first hold on the season. Santana, who looks like he could absolutely kill you if he wanted to. His little tattoo on his Adam's apple that's an eye, so he actually has 3 eyes he's looking at you with. So there's a lot of guys that's very unique, and we're very, very talented, and I think we're just getting more talented. The coolest part about what they've done is kind of like what your all's Croquet did. He went out to the bullpen. I think he learned how to compete in very tough, high anxiety situations, and now he's taken that, molded that into his identity as a starter. And we have a bunch of those guys. Like Burrow's been out of the bullpen, Ashcraft's been out of the bullpen, Chandler's out in the bullpen now. All these guys were starters, Majinski as well. So you have 4 guys that can create length, but they also have elite stuff. They're going to hit 98, 99 very consistently. They have one elite pitch that's top tier in the major leagues. So they fit the profile as a bullpen guy and the killer that you want out there, or the psychopath, and then they can come in and also maybe have enough feel to get you deeper into a game. So it's been fun to see how that has shifted, because that's not how we did it in the past.
By the way, we had the Vetter
right.
Cup. This has to be the Sell It Cup, right? This has to be.
The Sell It
The Sell It Cup?
The winner
Cup.
gets a Hawaiian T-shirt.
Oh, let it be said. Let
like
it be done.
Yes.
There you go. Michael, thanks for joining us today, man. I appreciate it very much. Have a great show tonight. Have a great series, and I hope to talk to you soon, man. Take care. When we come back, we're going to talk more about this series, more about Payton Tolle. 310 to Left brought to you by your New England Ford dealers. We'll see you in a couple minutes.
310 to Left is presented by your New England Ford dealers, who've been taking everyone out to the ball game at Fenway Park for decades. Catch Ford next time you're at Fenway, including in the Ford Clubhouse, a full-service bar perfect for bringing your lineup together and for recording our live edition of 310 to Left. It's all brought to you by your New England Ford dealers and F-Series, America's best-selling trucks for 48 years and the official truck of the Boston Red Sox.
All right, welcome back to 310 to Left. We're joined by Rob Bradford. You can see a tweet here. Payton Tolle reportedly making his debut tonight for the Red Sox at Fenway Park, facing Paul Skenes and the Pittsburgh Pirates. Rob Bradford with us actually saw Payton Tolle pitch in person. Now, Rob, he had a strong minor league performance, right? This is a guy that went from high A and reportedly making his big league debut tonight. Can that strong minor league performance, now you've seen big leaguers too, can that transfer to the big leagues? How does that work?
Well, I think the difference, anytime we talked about Payton Tolle, which I don't know, somebody said on the pregame show the other day that he was going to pitch. I'm not sure who it was. I'm just saying I told you so. So you doubted me.
I got that tweet.
There was a reason, Lenny, why he kept coming up. Because he not only has the results, but he looks the part. Like, this is a guy where he doesn't have to get by with grit, gut, and guile. He can get by with stuff. He's 6'6" and comes from the left side, tough arm angle. His fastball is about 97, but it plays up because his extension is so insanely good. So I think that he is a guy that should translate to the major league level. Now, you never know, right? I think you said it before. Like, it's throwing strikes. You got to throw strikes. You got to have the confidence. Throw strikes, see where it gets you. But in terms of stuff, in terms of attitude, in terms of demeanor, I think that he's ready, man. Like, he's ready. And I'll say this also, sitting down and talking to him, people are going to love him. Love him. What a great, great personality. Unbelievable.
I mean, we've already seen the mustache. I mean, I think that gets you points already before you've even thrown a ball at the big league level. But you're right, though. Throwing strikes is the biggest thing. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, I was just going to say, he still to this day had the best line of the year for me, which was when we were talking about, hey, you're close to the major leagues. And he's like, yeah, the carrot's getting closer, ... I can smell the carrot. Like, which immediately made me question if carrots smell, which is a whole nother thing. But I think I can smell the carrot. If that's not a T-shirt by Tuesday, what are we doing? But so I think that you're right. I mean, I think that he throws strikes. I actually thought I did think that they were going to have him do the David Price thing. I thought they were going to have him come on, or the Garrett Crochet thing from 2020. Great stuff, great presence, couple pitches, working on the other couple pitches, come in, be a reliever. But he had been so impressive as a starting pitcher that I thought they said, hey, we have this opening in the rotation. He could be our best answer to that. And Lenny also, he is working on a kick change, which he had to explain to me exactly what that was. But he's working on this kick change, which I think that's a work in progress. But once you get all of that together, you are absolutely looking at a huge part of this rotation next year.
Yeah, and I mentioned before, throwing strikes is the biggest thing. The difference between minor leagues and big leagues is fish ain't biting in the big leagues. You can throw a ball off the plate by a big sum of inches, and minor leaguers are free swingers. They're going to go right after it. And with his stuff especially, they just don't see the ball with that extension. Big leaguers, he's going to notice that, okay, guys aren't really swinging at those pitches. But, and again, ideally, you'd like to give him some sort of a soft landing, whether it's in a relief role, Red Sox are up by a certain number of runs. I mean, my debut, I think I was in Yankee Stadium. I think we were up by maybe 9 runs, so I couldn't do too much damage. Tito did me a favor there, but facing a guy like Paul Skenes, your debut, is that going to mentally affect him? What do you think?
Well, I mean, you tell me. I want to ask you: were you nervous? Were you nervous in Yankee Stadium, even up 9 runs?
Listen, I was never not nervous. Every time I picked up a
Good
ball,
for
there was
you.
always some sort of butterflies.
Yeah, that's how it
I was
should be,
always
right?
nervous.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
good.
butterflies, right? Butterflies. Mike
Yeah.
Timlin told me, listen, when the butterflies disappear, when the butterflies are no longer there, it's time to hang it up. No more baseball if you don't have that nervous anxiety that you can use on the field.
Yeah, listen, I had butterflies coming on this podcast. Every time I see you, I get butterflies. So I will say this is that I think that if I was Andrew Bailey, which I'm not, but if Lenny DiNardo gave the best advice here, which is we get it. There's excitement. There's the big guy with the mustache on the other side. There's Friday nights at Fenway's are next level. But the one thing that you focus on is throwing your first pitch to every batter for a strike. That's it. If it gets hit, it gets hit. But I think that this is a thing, Lenny. His fastball is so good. His fastball does jump so much that I think that he can do that. And you talk about soft landings. Yeah, okay. The environment might not be a soft landing, but this isn't the Yankees. This isn't the Blue Jays. No disrespect to the Pirates, but this is maybe not a terrible, terrible opponent to face the first time out.
Yeah, absolutely. And, for a guy like Tolle, who this is an opportunity for him, right? We talked about the big 3. We've got Crochet, Giolito, Bayo. After that, it's kind of up for grabs. We didn't know if it was going to be Tolle, if Harrison. It's reportedly Tolle today. We'll see. Rob, I think you told everybody on Twitter yesterday that's going to happen. But
Yeah.
what the opportunity presents itself to him? What could he do for this rotation if, in fact, he is big league ready? Performs tonight, going into September, what could he do for this club? Taking the ball every 5 days.
Well, number one, you can win games, which is the goal is to win the division, get home field, all of that. So that can help because you threw a bullpen game last time out in this spot. Dustin May has been up and down. If you can get that guy, you can catch lightning in the bottle like, Nolan McLean with the Mets right now. There's other guys. We mentioned Bubba Chandler with the Pirates. He hasn't started, but both games he's come on 4 innings, shutout innings. You can catch lightning in the bottle with that. It will help you immensely going this stretch drive. And then when you get to the postseason, we talk about, well, he's starting, but Lenny, like people forget, there's almost only so many starts for a rotation if you have a lot of guys. And moving guys out of the rotation to the back end of the bullpen is a very real thing. We saw that in 18 with Sale and Evaldi. And so to answer your question, I think in the short term, it's filling in the rotation. But potentially, I think in the longer term, in the postseason, you can bump him back and actually be that guy, that impact, high leverage guy out of the bullpen. I could absolutely see that because I think that people forget this. This is how it happens in the postseason. Starters are moved to relievers.
Nathan Uvalde, classic example, a guy that could
Yeah.
basically do anything, take the ball in any scenario, and he's an icon. He's a legend now because of what he did during the season. And we talked about the Red Sox matchup, Skenes looking like it's probably going to be Tolle. We'll see coming up for his debut. But I feel like as far as taking the ball on the mound, the most important arm today at Fenway Park is someone a little bit different. Tom Caron, who's been with
Ooh.
NESN for 30 years, is throwing out the first pitch at Fenway Park today. We threw a 25-pitch bullpen yesterday at NESN. He got on a little hill in the parking lot, and 95% strike rate. You're not going to get any. That's Chapman-esque when it comes to throwing strikes, right?
Hey, Lenny, the advice to Tom Caron is no different than the advice to Payton Tolle. Strike one, right? Strike one.
Strike one.
Throw
And he
throw
was
strike
doing the
one.
Louis Tiant. He was doing everything out there. Good extension. He was throwing 46 feet, 50 feet. He got back to 66 inches, and he was throwing strikes. He did have to ice his arm after though. So
Hey, listen, Pap had to get surgery on his arm, so it can't be that bad. There you go.
that's true. But hey, Rob, we're running out of time, buddy. Thanks for coming on today. I appreciate you very much. Always great seeing you. 310 to Left brought to you by your New England Ford dealers and F-Series, America's best-selling truck for 48 years and the official truck of the Boston Red Sox. Thanks, Rob, so much for coming on. And hey, right here, this is what it's all about.
Oh,
Baseball isn't boring.
hey,
Check it
Lenny,
out.
you're the absolute best. I appreciate you having me on. Thanks so much.
Take care, everybody.